in understanding his character is his father. If it is his father, Abu Sufyan. When you analyze Abu Sufyan, you need to understand a few of Abu Sufyan's comments, which will show you exactly what he thought about Islamic leadership. It's very important. You need to understand this. Abu Sufyan, number one, when the Khilafah came into the hands of Bani Umayyah, he said that the Khilafah has now come in our hands. Do not give it away to anyone. Keep this ball in your court and play about with it, and I do not believe there is no heaven nor is there any hell. This was one of his statements. Another of his statements is that when the Khilafah came to Bani Umayyah, Abu Sufyan, when it came to Uthman, Abu Sufyan came near the grave of Hamza, and he kicks the grave of Hamza in Uhud, and he says, Hamza, where are all you and your soldiers who were coming and attacking us in Uhud and Badr? They are nowhere to be seen. Muhammad's religion is neither revelation nor truth. It has all come into our hands. Number two. Number three, Abu Sufyan again. He comes to the Prophet Muhammad while he is blind. He comes to the Prophet Muhammad's mosque. He enters the Prophet Muhammad's mosque. He hears adhan being recited. It gets to Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Next to him is whom? Is a companion of his. He says to him, my companion, is there anyone replying to Muhammad Rasulullah? He says to him, there's no one here in the mosque. He says, look at Muhammad. He came and he came with all his message. Well, yet what do we find? There is no one here even to reply to his message. At this moment, the hadith narrates, Ali ibn Abi Talib walked out and he said, if there is no one, there is no one, but understand, I will always be the one to reply to the call in adhan. Number three. Here we see number four, Abu Sufyan makes an important point, where he speaks to Abbas, the uncle of Rasulullah. And he says to him, when he sees Rasulullah with a whole host of soldiers, he says to him, Abbas, your nephew has acquired quite a kingdom. Not leadership. Not Islamic leadership, no. Your nephew has acquired quite a kingdom. To the extent that Umar ibn al-Khattab used to say that Muawiya is the Kisra of the Arabs. Which means, you know the Persian kings? Muawiya is now living a life like the Persian kings. Here we notice, number one, that the family background of Muawiya comes forward with an idea that they saw Islamic leadership as not leadership to protect the Quran. No. The leadership was purely a kingdom, a monarchy. That today many people say Muawiya, he established a state which looks more like a Roman empire than Muhammad's empire. It was a state full of jewelry and the gold of the world, which coveted the palaces one after another. Number two, when you come to Muawiya, we find in the ahadith that this Aisha Bewleys, she says Muawiya, he is the one who most replicated the sunnah of Rasulullah. When I reply to that, I can show a couple of ahadith which show in the contrary. He tried to destroy the sunnah of Rasulullah. Number one, the la'na on Ali ibn Abi Talib that used to be given every week from the minbar. Muawiya orchestrated that Ali ibn Abi Talib would be cursed every week on a Friday from the pulpits in Arabia. To the extent that Umar bin Abdul Aziz, who was known in many Sunni schools as being the fifth of the rightly guided Khulafa, Umar bin Abdul Aziz is the one who stopped the la'na on Ali ibn Abi Talib from the minbar which Muawiya had caused. Because Umar bin Abdul Aziz, he narrates the story. He says, when I was young, now you imagine Umar bin Abdul Aziz, he's the son of the kings of Bani Umayyah. He is living an extremely aristocratic lifestyle. Umar bin Abdul Aziz, he narrates, when I was 6 years old, the way we would swear is we would say, curse be on Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, that's the best way we used to swear. He says, even as 6-year-olds, we got into the habit of cursing Ali ibn Abi Talib. He says, one day my teacher frowned at me. He said, I was thinking, my teacher frowned at me. You know, Bani Umayyah, if the teacher of their kid frowns at them, that's the end of his life. He's finished. Umar bin Abdul Aziz says, I looked at my teacher, he was frowning at me. He says, I came to him the following day. I said to him, my teacher, why did you frown at me yesterday? What have I done wrong? Did I say something wrong? He says, my teacher looked at me and he said, Umar, haven't I taught you that those who fought in the battle of Badr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He praises them and honors them? He says, yes, you have taught me that. He says, hasn't Allah praised them in the Quran? He says, yes, He has. He says, who is the man who killed 35 out of the 70 in the battle of Badr? He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, therefore, if Allah is pleased with all of the people who fought in the battle of Badr, How can he not be pleased with the man who fought and killed half of those who were the disbelievers? Umar bin Abdul Aziz said that as soon as I heard this, I made the point that if ever I was going to be a leader, I would remove the cursing of Ali ibn Abi Talib from the minbar. So he says that when I became leader, I am the one who stopped it. Subhanallah, how Umar bin Abdul Aziz was only a leader in Bani Umayyah for 2 years. He was killed in the 2nd year because they were noticing he was very lenient towards Ahl al-Bayt. Here you have the cursing of Ali ibn Abi Talib, number 2. Number 3, who was the orchestrator of Imam Hassan's death? Imam Hassan was poisoned by whom? By his wife. His wife was told by whom? His wife was told by Muawiya. Muawiya said, if you poison Hassan, I will give you Yazid. Now, Aisha Bewleys, if you are telling me this is the restorer of the Muslim faith, how could the restorer of the Muslim faith kill the very basis of the masters of the youth of paradise? Because when she came and she poisoned Imam Hassan, she went back to Muawiya. And she said, Muawiya, where is my gift? You said, you'll give me Yazid. He said, if I can't trust you with the grandson of Rasulullah, how do I expect to trust you with my own son? Get out of here. And she was made to leave. Here is number 3. Number 4, and the main area, brothers and sisters. And it is vital that you understand this area. Because I'm telling you, if you understand the following area, you can go to anyone in the Islamic world and show them that Muawiya doesn't deserve to even be the dust underneath the feet of an animal. When you come forward, the main area to discuss Muawiya is Muawiya's government. Because in Muawiya's government, Muawiya changed the whole concept of the meaning of Sahaba. The whole meaning of the word companion was changed by Muawiya. Why? Because Muawiya's government was made up of people who were the most bitter enemies of Rasulullah when Rasulullah was alive. Each one of them, one by one, Muawiya brought them back in power. Look and analyze each one of them. The first one, Al-Walid bin Uqba. First one. Al-Walid bin Uqba, brothers and sisters. Do you know which verse in the Quran is revealed about him? Al-Walid bin Uqba, the verse in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِن جَاءَكُمْ فَاسِقٌ بِنَبَإٍ فَتَبَيَّنُوا. This verse was revealed about Al-Walid bin Uqba. Why? Al-Walid bin Uqba, his father was one of the most firm enemies of Rasulullah. He as well was one of the most firm enemies of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Al-Walid bin Uqba, in the time of Rasulullah, he had claimed that I have come towards Islam. You know, when everyone needed safety, they came towards Islam. Rasulullah, he sent them towards Bani Mustalaq. Bani Mustalaq, originally they used to be disbelievers. And Walid bin Uqba, before he came to Islam, he was also a disbeliever. Rasulullah sent him to Bani Mustalaq in order to collect the poor rate. Go and collect for me the poor rate, the tax. When Walid bin Uqba went to Bani Mustalaq, do you know what happened? Walid bin Uqba, he comes near them. Bani Mustalaq, because they wanted to greet him, now that everyone's come towards Islam, they want to greet each other. Bani Mustalaq, all of them came out. When they came out to greet him, what did Al-Walid bin Uqba think? He thought to himself, these Bani Mustalaq probably want to kill me. So what does he do? He goes all the way back to Arabia and he says, oh Arabians, know that Bani Mustalaq have become atheists and polytheists again. They've all gone back to their own ways. The people got shocked. Bani Mustalaq has come towards the path of Islam. Now Al-Walid bin Uqba has come to us with the news that these people have changed. The Quran revealed the verse, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِن جَاءَكُمْ فَاسِقٌ بِنَبَإٍ فَتَبَيَّنُوا أَن تُصِيبُوا قَوْمٍ بِجَهَالَةٍ فَتُصْبِحُوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلْتُمْ نَادِمِينَ. O you who believe, when an evil man comes to you with news, verify the news. Otherwise you will put a group of people into ignorance and you will regret what you have said. The same Al-Walid ibn Uqba, he was the governor of Uthman bin Affan in Kufa. Uthman bin Affan had made him his governor in Kufa. Do you know this Al-Walid bin Uqba, while he was in Kufa, he was leading Salat al-Fajr one day. Leading Salat al-Fajr. Salat al-Fajr is how many rak'ah, brothers and sisters? 2, yes? Imagine you pray it 4. How drunk must you be? To pray it, if you move on to 3, okay, normally us guys, we get to the second rak'ah, we think about jumping back in bed, yes? Here, you find Al-Walid ibn Uqba comes forward, and when he comes forward, out of how drunk he is, he reaches the 4th rak'ah in Salat al-Fajr. And in sujood, and while he's in the 4th rak'ah, do you know what he does? He turns round, and he says to the people, do you want me to continue? He's drinking in salah, and he turns around and says, do you want me to continue? The people straight away became annoyed. Even while he was in sujood, he speaks some poetry about a girl that he loves. Her name is Rabab. He speaks about her, and in sujood, imagine, normally, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih, we say it in sujood. This guy's talking about a girl called Rabab and how much he loves her. They straight away went to Uthman bin Affan. They went to Uthman bin Affan. They said to him, Uthman, is this acceptable that your cousin leaves salah drunk? Do you know what Uthman bin Affan said? He said, I can't punish him, he's my cousin. I can't punish him, he's my cousin. Do you know what happened? Ali ibn Abi Talib was told about this. Ali ibn Abi Talib went and he ordered that the person is given 80 lashes for the drinking that he had done. The same Al-Walid bin Uqba, because of his hatred for Ali ibn Abi Talib, just before the battle of Siffin, he goes to Muawiya. And he says to Muawiya, Muawiya, make sure you do not do any agreements with Ali ibn Abi Talib. Shall I tell you why, brothers and sisters? Because this Al-Walid bin Uqba, he knew that Muawiya, when he fought in the battle of Siffin, the reason he fought was